The ZA Tech Show is made possible by Vodacom. Power to you at vodacom.co.za. And by BlackBerry. Love doing business on your BlackBerry smartphone at blackberry.co.za. Hello and welcome to episode number 188 of the ZA Tech Show. My name is Simon Dingle. It's Monday night if you're watching us live. I'll let Bretsky do the date this week. What's the date, Brett?
Monday the 5th of December 2011.
The Monday the 5th of December 2011, which means that this is the ZA Tech Show that will be made available for the 6th of December. Brett got a date wrong last week.
I got a date right last week.
Okay. He got it right.
That's horrifying.
And I gave him crap for getting it wrong. Meanwhile, he was in the right. I suck. Anyway, thanks for being here. Brett Haggard from Hypertext Media Communications.
How's it say?
Who has been on the show since the very beginning because he was instrumental in its starting. If this is the first time you're listening to the ZA Tech Show, Brett is furniture.
In more ways than one, people.
Which piece of furniture exactly?
Couch.
He's okay. Soft, comfy.
Yeah.
He's the couch.
Leather.
Good to
couch.
snuggle into.
The Lilo is back this week. Somebody who's we don't have on the show very frequently, but it's always a treat to get him on, is Dominic White from Sense Post.
Hello, Simon.
How you doing?
I'm very good.
Cool. It's awesome to have you back on the show, man.
Thanks for letting me back in.
Of course, anytime. You are more than welcome. Dominic is one of the very smart security experts at Sense Post. Now world famous. You've certainly been traveling enough to be.
Yeah.
But you're at all the big sort of hacker conventions internationally. DevCon.
Not all of them. There's too many these days.
Yeah.
But, try and go to some of them.
You have like a second home in Las Vegas.
A dirty
What's the most
home.
recent one you've been to?
Conference-wise, the last big one was Black Hat and DEF CON.
Yeah. And what's that like?
It's pretty mad.
I can imagine.
Black Hat's gone a bit corporate, and then DEF CON, you've got a bunch of groupies with green hair and things like that, but there's a universal culture of drinking throughout it.
Yeah. Dominic's also working on a Plex channel for the ZA Tech Show. If you use Plex for your media center, you'll soon be able to add... Well, I think you can already add our channel, can't you?
You have to
audio
download
only
it specifically.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you for doing that. Dominic just sort of popped up on Twitter one day saying, I've made a channel for Plex. We had somebody do it for XBMC as well, so we have an awesome community.
Another
around
road
the show.
student, actually.
Make us look good. Thanks, Dom. Sam Beckbessinger's here from Quirk.
Hello, Dingleberry.
How you doing?
Good.
Oh, man.
I want a piece of furniture as well. If he's a
Dingleberry.
Lilo and he's a couch.
Now, usually that
Can I be a
word would be
pogo stick?
banned from our show. But this... Pogo stick. You can be any piece of furniture you choose. Sam.
Oh, yay.
Ottoman.
Yes.
Ottoman. Oh, yeah,
Ottoman.
Pointless.
Or as we like to
kind
call
of just
it in
sitting there.
Denmark.
Not really sure what it's supposed to
I'm
do.
the welcome mat. The carpet. People stand on me. I don't know. Anyway, I also share a name with Jailbreak for the BlackBerry PlayBook that's coming out. The reason Sam called me Dingleberry is because it's funny, but also because we were just discussing before the show the fact that the jailbreak that's come out for the BlackBerry PlayBook, which is their attempt at a tablet, is called Dingleberry, and it is out like this week. Hey, Dom?
It's supposed to be out today.
Okay.
The guy whose Twitter account it is, if you're interested in following it, is... I've forgotten it now. It's CWME. No, I'll have to check it and get back to you. Sorry.
All right, no problem.
So, I mean, BlackBerry has spoken about trying to patch whatever sort of hole there is in that thing, right? But why would they want to? I mean, isn't a jailbroken playbook much better? Because, hey, you can have exciting apps.
Yeah. Well, can you?
Okay.
You can have
I
Hulu.
tweet from it now if it's jailbroken, because that would rock.
You could always tweet from the web
sure,
interface
sure.
for Twitter,
No,
or from
yeah.
Hootsuite, which you kind of worked with. But yeah, the only Twitter apps for the playbook have been third party, and none of them I've used have worked really well.
You know, I was actually explaining this at a BlackBerry lunch last week, and for me, I really want there to be an officially sanctioned app to start with. I
Right.
would like Twitter and Facebook to release actual apps, then I'll start experimenting with third-party applications. But I think that level of trust somehow in my mind needs to be established first before I start playing with third-party applications for any one platform. I was like that with, I'm trying to think, Windows Phone. A huge issue for me was the fact that there wasn't an official Twitter client, and then suddenly there was, and I was okay, cool. Now I'll start using it and playing around with it. And it's the same case with the playbook as it is right now. I just it feels wrong that there's not an officially sanctioned Twitter application for it.
Right. So what can you do with the jailbreak for the playbook? I see a lot of the commenters on YouTube have been talking about the fact that you can access Hulu now. Apparently you couldn't do that on the playbook before. So if you're in the States and you use Hulu, which is the television service, you can watch your TV shows on it. What else can you do with the jailbreak, Dom? Do you know?
We don't know. He hasn't told us. We know you get a Linux prompt from it, and you get root.
So,
no,
give me a key on a tablet. Done. A native command line interface. Done.
Well, it just means that you can start building things.
But I can start like I've got a shell and I've got a soft keyboard.
But a lot of
yeah. But I mean, if you just want a shell and a soft keyboard, get yourself an SSH client. But I guess it's the first step to building other stuff. So if he's also next thing you get is
that's
a
what I was
compiler
going to say.
going.
There isn't an SSH client.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. Yeah,
and I use SSH a hell of a lot. So
supposedly a lot of innovations on Apple's design have come from the jailbreak community. So I know increasingly I rely on jailbreak less and less because those features get built in.
Right.
If there's all these restrictions on the playbook, or at least unsexiness for building the apps, maybe this allows people who are interested and don't have the big dev partnerships to start building stuff, and that gets incorporated. We don't know. It's a big blow to their security. I mean, this is BlackBerry's been the big secure. It was been really difficult to exploit before, but they moved to Linux and they're in the same position as everyone else.
So that's interesting, and I suppose it also gives them something extra to think about with the QNX phones coming from BlackBerry next year, which apparently look amazing. I was speaking to somebody who's seen early prototypes of QNX running on a BlackBerry device, and apparently there was a device leaked. This wasn't quite as big news as when the iPhone 4 was left in a bar.
Again,
by mistake.
Accidentally.
But apparently that happened. I wonder if BlackBerry planned that. They left it in a bar. Nobody noticed.
2 weeks later, somebody was like, "Hey, I'm going to stop."
It would be big
So
news. It would be
mean.
big news. I'm looking forward to QNX on a phone. I love the QNX operating system, and I love the playbook. The only problem that I've had with it, as you were saying earlier, Brett, is no apps. That's been the Achilles heel.
I'll say this for the 5th time on this show, probably the 5th or the 6th time. Awesome hardware, really feels good in hand, super responsive screen, the killer stuff under the hood, operating system that multitasks like an absolute dream, eye candy galore.
Yeah.
Nothing
I
to
can't
do with
use
it.
it for anything that I really want to use it for. I want a native email client. I want Twitter natively supported.
don't they have a native email client now?
No, that's
It's
coming
coming.
out with the next version of QNX, or as they're calling it, a BB OSX, or is it what? It's BBX.
Right.
I think it's is what QNX ultimately becomes when everything converges on phones and tablets with the same OS. But there at the same time you'll also have the Android VM, which I think is going to be very, very cool. So you can get Android applications and run them straight on the.
I still wonder if that's the right move for BlackBerry to do a Android virtual machine. I think a lot of Android app developers will go, cool, now we don't have to do a QNX app because you can just virtualize.
Yeah.
The one thing in all of that that's not clear to me is I know that you can get Android applications like publicly out there on the web. You don't necessarily, as an Android dev, have to make use of the Android marketplace in order to do that. But the really, really good apps are inside the marketplace.
Yes.
How am I going to get access to those really, really good apps I want in the marketplace and put them onto my playbook? That's the one big question I've got, because surely they're not going to support it to that level, and surely Google's not going to be happy with the fact that this VM can go straight to marketplace. So that'll be interesting to see.
So I think one of the big differences, if you look at what iOS can do, they've got that single screen size, and you can get that pixel perfect rendering. The app devs can really develop it. If on Android you've already got the problem, you've got the different screen sizes, so potentially things don't end up looking as good. If you now have to support an Android emulator, it's going to end up looking a bit shit.
Yes, definitely.
Apparently, look, and again, we've only heard this from a handful of people at RIM and one or two people that have seen it at
Brett, I'm sorry,
BlackBerry World.
you have a sticker on your MacBook Air of Underpants.
Yes.
Okay,
I
just
have
checking. Sorry, carry on.
Male and female underpants. I have Y-fronts
Don't
and
discriminate,
panties.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. No, carry on. There's nothing strange about that. Carry on.
And Mario and an Angry Bird.
I've got the same Angry Bird, dude.
You don't have
Awesome,
any
right?
underwear.
You don't have the green.
I do.
Angry Bird,
It's on my other laptop.
Anyway,
Thing.
back to the playbook. Just
So
saying.
what I was
just wanted
saying
to
was
check.
a handful of people that have seen it,
Those
some
are in
people at
fact
BlackBerry
Underpants.
at BlackBerry World that saw it now a couple of months ago, and said that it is actually really, really good. So they saw some early code of it. They saw some Android apps running inside of the VM,
Yeah.
and not just people from RIM, journalists. And they said it's actually good. It's really, really competent. It works well. It's not massively performance draining. It's not like sticky and jerky and
Yes.
and laggy. So you know what? I think that's a cool win for BlackBerry, at least in the short term, for the
Yeah.
PlayBook in the short term.
Android apps on tablets are just
Oh,
nastiness, though.
horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I really am starting to get into, Honeycomb is currently sort of
Yeah.
what you get on an Android tablet, and I've been using my Motorola Zoom more and more. Like, it's a really great tablet, and I really like what you can do with Android widgets. You can customize the keyboard, but the moment you launch any third-party applications, it's just, it's like,
So depressing.
it's just the phone application kind of stretched onto a bigger screen. And
Unless-
it's just lazy developers, because I'm sure that they can, roll out different versions of the apps for different screens.
I've played with a
form
couple
factors,
of
but
tablet designed applications, and they're absolutely great. I think the biggest problem right now is there's no elegant way of making a phone app work nicely on a
Sure.
on a tablet form factor. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think it's a bigger problem, is it's not perfectly apparent in the marketplace when
Yeah.
something is a tablet app and when
Yeah.
something is a phone app.
Yeah.
And it really disappoints me. An app like TweetDeck, for example. This is my pet peeve with TweetDeck on Android. Is the whole concept behind TweetDeck is it's a deck of columns. You're supposed to be able to see multiple stuff going on Twitter at the same time, simultaneously looking at your update feed and your ads and your DMs and a couple of searches. Right? You launch that on a tablet and you look at it in landscape mode, and all it does is give you this gigantic big one column view that
Yeah.
you can swipe through like you would on the phone, but it makes absolutely no effective use of the real estate.
yes.
I
And-
find that TweetDeck, and I've tried it on a number of different Android devices, tablets and phones, it crashes all the time. I've actually just given up on it completely and started using the native Twitter app.
TweetDeck
Yeah.
is a bit
Yeah.
nasty.
Yeah.
But again, the
groggy.
native Twitter app not making nearly as effective use of the available screen real estate. Look at the officially sanctioned Twitter application on the iPad versus the one that's available for Android. The iPad one has this ability that when you click on any tweet, it gives you a little browser window with more context over here. It kind of slides that in from the side. That's really, really beautiful and useful. And if somebody's got a link or a picture or whatever, it'll mark up right there on that page. You don't have that on the Android app. You've got to now go launch another browser window. It's just, it's
Yeah.
badly
I think
done.
it's one of the pros and cons of the Apple approach. On the one hand, Apple's really assy and they force their approach down your throat. But on the other hand, if you don't make an explicit iPad app, it runs in that silly little window. There's no reason they couldn't use Retina and make it full screen and make the fonts bigger. But they do it on purpose to force the developers to build a
Right.
proper app.
So there
Which
is actually...
which has worked.
Yeah.
No, but what's interesting is there's an app in the jailbreak community available for iPad.
Retina Pad.
Yes. That takes iOS for phone apps and scales them up beautifully.
Yeah.
Like picture perfect, absolutely beautifully. I don't understand why that's not built directly into the OS right now.
It's to force them to build proper iPad apps.
That can be the only reason.
Because it's not
Yeah.
perfect. And things are too big. So like the Facebook app before they released it, use Retina
Yeah.
Pad
I
for
think
that.
you're right. Apple just
so
wants
the
it to look
buttons are
nasty.
big, right? but you don't have
Something
any
in
of
that.
like the nasty pixelation and that kind of crap.
Some
Because
stuff's blurry.
that really irritates
But
me.
I mean, like I definitely feel like Android apps on mobile phones have not quite caught up to Apple apps, but they're getting there. They've gotten a lot better. It's got to happen eventually
So
with
I've got an
tablets.
opinion on this
Yes.
because I've been playing with the
No.
for a change.
not allowed
I
to
have
have
an
an opinion,
on
Brent.
something. I've been playing with the Motorola Razr for about a week now, and I'm actually really, really loving it. It's the first time I've had a very good Android experience, and I think it's mainly because it's been a couple of months since I've played with Android involved, okay, and really gotten into it. But the thing for me is those applications that I use every single day on iOS, there's one or two missing. Outside of that, everything else is there.
Yeah.
Viber's there, WhatsApp is there, Around Me is there. There are very, very rad replacements for Camera Plus. The Twitter application on this form factor works extremely well.
So all the apps
it now
are there.
has push notifications built into Twitter. Little tweaks like that are now starting to make this really, really mature. Couple that with a really, really quick processor, decent screen, nice form factor in hand. I'm loving having
Decent
this device.
camera.
Can tell you what I'm missing is I'm missing having Instagram.
Pick, please.
Well,
It's okay.
it's an
not
alternative,
Instagram.
but it's for
It's not the blogging.
for me, Instagram is part of the it's the
Yeah.
social network, and everybody
Yeah.
else that's there and who I'm following on Instagram. So
I'm
that's
on
the
enough
one thing
social
I'm missing.
networks without wanting to be on
And the
another
other
one just
thing
for
I'm
photos.
missing is TomTom navigation,
What I like
which is killer on iPhone.
I think Google Maps navigation is vastly superior to any other navigation software I've used. It just the way it integrates with your email and click through from addresses, and it works really well. What I like about the Motorola Razr, in fact, it's probably the only thing, is the different scenarios. You can sort of set scenarios for it, so you can go when you detect this Wi-Fi network, which means I'm at home, switch off the Bluetooth, switch my phone to silent, or only accept calls from, and you can choose contacts. Like between the hours of 10 o'clock at night and 7 in the morning, only allow calls from Dominic, Brett, and Sam.
Yeah.
Like nobody else can get hold of me. Like that level of granular control is fantastic, and it's something I miss. Thinking back to phones pre-2007, pre the big smartphone revolution. There were certain things that were very handy that you can't do on Android or iOS.
Profiles, Nokia
Profiles, like choosing
Damn
who
it,
can
man.
call you. Video calling was also pretty cool, and then that got stomped on.
Look, if you don't have a Razr, you can do that with apps. But
Yeah,
it's really
sure.
cool that it's.
Well, that's
So
the
is
nice
that
thing with Android is
built in,
it's
yeah.
it's,
You
Is
can
this
do
an
everything
Android
with an
thing, or
app.
is that a Motorola thing?
it's a Motorola app that
So-
they've developed
Pretty
for
cool.
profiles.
You'll never get that in iOS. It's too many options.
Yeah,
That's not Apple's way.
yeah.
Although the one thing that I did see come to iOS this week, through a little bit of clever hacking and some web integration, doing some web shortcuts, is so the thing that I really enjoy about Android is that most of the devices now have this little panel that sits on one of your home screens, a little widget that you
Yeah.
have the ability to switch. With pan right one and then switch it into airline mode, or switch off your Bluetooth, switch on your Wi-Fi with just like one button,
Yeah.
switch on your tethering,
Yeah.
etc. There's there's a whole little series of hacks that you don't have to do with a jailbreak that now allow you to do exactly that for iPhone, which is very cool.
So,
It is cool.
so Android, in many ways, is a manifestation of the inner turmoil at Google. And I'm busy reading In the Plex at the moment. I've just started it, so I can't really authoritatively say that I've absorbed everything in the book. And I'll talk about it in Picks of the Week because it's going to be mine. But you get the sense that Google is sort of at odds with where it is now. Versus, from a perspective of it was started as this agile startup with a really big and noble mission, and it's now growing into a corporate behemoth, and it's trying to consolidate where it wants to be, sort of from an ethical perspective versus where it has to be from a business perspective. And things get a little bit messy at times, and I think that's why Android is almost a manifestation of that messiness at Google and this sort of inner turmoil that it has. But Google's direction at the moment is it's a lot of things have happened. I think Larry Page seems to be a man of action. Like, interfaces have changed, projects have been scrapped. A lot seems to be happening at Google at the moment. Progress being made, like the Gmail interface has been revamped. YouTube has a new interface. Lots of progress in Google Maps. Google Plus just has new features rolled out every week. Like,
Have you noticed? Sorry, on that note, that with the new YouTube, which is friggin' amazing, incidentally. There's a little YouTube slider now in Google Plus where you can search for videos directly from within there and then share them immediately. How cool.
Very cool.
You have to be using Google Plus. Sorry, I'm kidding.
So
I still can't get into Google Plus. I don't know why. I'm struggling.
It's very
That's
cool.
a shame
I
if
haven't even
nobody sent you an invite. Are you that low?
Oh no, I have tons of followers and there's like all these circles and stuff happening. But it's
So
like,
the new YouTube interface is interesting. You can kind of see it. Google's got kind of tried to find a middle ground between desktop users of YouTube and people accessing it on computers connected to TVs, for example. So you can create these channels now for different kinds of content you enjoy. It's got sections for videos that are trending, popular, for music, entertainment. You can build your own categories, start adding YouTube users to it. Why do I always get this guy with the 6-pack exercise thing every time I load up Google?
Is it the shaker weight that you were watching?
No, it's like this douchebag from America who's got a six-pack shortcut whatever routine, and every time I load YouTube, it brings up the same
YouTube's
goddamn
trying to tell you
advert.
something, Simon. I don't want to sort of point out the
God
obvious.
damn
here,
It's
but-
the season to be jolly. Simon.
Anyway,
Let's see if I get the
just
same
threw
link.
me
I'm
off
just
course.
busy.
No,
Whatever.
going there now.
Okay.
Although oddly, YouTube still doesn't really easily allow you to add contacts and follow, like bring in the people that you're following on Google Plus into the YouTube dashboard,
that
which is
stuff's all
still a bit
coming.
weird.
Why would you want that? I go to YouTube to watch a video, and that's it. Like it serves no other purpose to me.
You see, we use YouTube as a channel for the ZA Tech Show, so when I look at it from that perspective, from a content creator perspective, I can see why community is a good thing.
But you've got channels for that already, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But you're right from a user perspective. But you don't have to use
I
that
don't
stuff.
Have you guys seen this Red Bull TV Chrome app that they've rolled out in the last week? It's a totally different approach to kind of creating a video channel. It's an app, and you can go in, and Red Bull's created a whole bunch of extreme sports content basically. But the interface is just friggin' sexy.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's really beautiful, and it's kind of in your browser. Just quite a different way of thinking about things. I think it's pretty pointless really, but it's interesting.
What'll be the next big thing from Google? Don't know. Something.
I don't think they know.
Search, man.
Porn on YouTube. Porn is like the one area where Google has not defined themselves.
Yeah, but I think like the kind of spin-offs that have the word tube in them and any
Red
number of
tube,
like random
tube,
like
yeah.
it's like
So-
have cornered the market. there.
One of the interesting things that they rolled out this week was an update to Google Maps so that you can now access floor plans for buildings, which is quite interesting. In fact, there's a video here, if you're watching the video version, we can roll it, that shows you how you can add floor plans to Google Maps. So anybody, of course, can submit their floor plans now to Google Maps, and then they'll be featured there.
But it's
So
not
how
just
would that-
floor. It's also called floor plan, but it also gives you like
This is
you can walk
fantastic for
into
terrorists.
you can.
I'm
It's not
about
just
to
floor
say,
plans.
yeah.
Like you can walk into malls and do the street view thing from within the mall as well.
But clearly
Yeah.
they have a bicycle. on the street you can't going down like the
That'd be
center of
awesome.
the- That'd be really cool.
So yes, floor plans, and they're accessible from your Android device.
So do you just like if you zoom in sufficiently into a mall, for example, it'll suddenly switch from giving you
I guess.
like, a map
Probably.
view to
I haven't
like
played
a
with
floor
it.
plan?
No.
It looks that way. I'm just watching somebody on the video stream sort of, walk you through the process of adding the floor plans. It's pretty smart stuff.
So can you add any floor plan?
Yeah, apparently.
So if I wanted to put my office in there, I could do it.
Looks like it. Yeah,
Can I fake it?
you probably could.
So I can put
Make
a
your-
water slide in my office.
Yes.
Make your desk like really big.
CEO sits here.
Strip a pole.
So you upload your floor plan, and then you scale it, and then you define its corners, and then you kind of overlay it on the map and sort of orientate it with the building. Yeah, people are going to have a hell of a lot of fun with this one. You're right, Dom. Yes. Google Maps getting more and more handy for terrorists. Anyway, whatever. I love Google Maps navigation, and now I can use it to find millies at checkers.
Yeah. That's the next thing, is kind of real-time updates. So you can go and check out the queue in the Pick and Pay before you get in your car. I think it's genius.
Yeah,
How real time will it be though?
I don't know. And also location at the moment is like, off by a few hundred meters. So
Yeah.
there's no way it's going to tell you which aisle you're in at the
I
Pick
don't,
and
I
Pay.
don't know if
or
you guys
which
have
floor
tried
you're on.
using Waze, but that just never had an accurate.
Yeah, so that's
Ooh, but
the
it's
like
traffic stuff for me.
community-driven open source mapping
But
thing.
apparently it is in the past like 2 months really started rocking. Like a couple of people have come up to me and said, have you played with Waze yet? And I'm like, yeah, Waze, we played with it, open source GPS, mining stuff from people with Waze on their phone and working out routes, completely like, community generated.
Yeah.
Apparently it is absolutely rocking now. A lot of people are finding it to be massively accurate, A.
So-
and B, the traffic patterns are power.
So when I started using Waze, that was the problem was that there just wasn't any community. So
Yeah.
as I was driving, it was like drawing the road. I'm like, I'm supposed to see where the road goes, not where it
I
comes
think they actually, got a map set contributed or something like that, which kind of got
You
it
can
going.
just use Open Maps.
Yeah, I
Well,
think it
they're not allowed to use OpenStreetMaps.
Why?
So it was a specific question I had saying, why are we drawing all this stuff? Because of the licensing agreements. So it's got an open source licensing, viral licensing model, which
Okay.
would affect their stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Because essentially, I thought they would just build an overlay on top of that, which you are allowed to do.
Yeah, I spent ages building roads and trying to get points for it and all that stuff, and eventually got very bored.
Yeah, I can see where they're going in their thinking, but there's always going to be, I don't know. I think the traffic at the moment, the best job I'm seeing certainly on South African roads is TomTom with their live traffic service, and also rad that it's available for free. If you're wondering how Aki Anastasio always knows what the delays are on the byways around Johannesburg, go to routes.tomtom.co.za. You can plan a route, and it's got live traffic information freely accessible from the web. So before I like, if I know I've got to go somewhere in rush hour, I load up routes.tomtom.co.za, and it tells you go around here, and it's really cool. You can zoom in on the maps, and it'll show you like this piece of road is red, and then when you click on it, it says 3-minute delay or 2-minute delay, and it's really rad.
Please put that in the published show notes, so when eventually I look back at them trying to remember what that cool thing you said was.
I'll make it one of my picks. How's that?
Thanks. I mean, complete
Handy.
killjoy. I was always wondering how Aki knew. I was like, I feel like I've been told there's no Easter bunny and Father Christmas is fake. Thanks, dude. It's so depressing. It was better when Aki knew everything, son.
Well, you see, the only way you can access the same information in your car is if you're paying for TomTom
Yeah.
Live. So,
Yeah, yeah.
or you got driving with your laptop on your lap, which is not a great idea. Don't recommend that. Tried it.
Although iPad, you using your iPad as a GPS is fantastic because a TomTom
not in your
app,
car.
No, dude. Seriously.
Wait,
you
like
drive a
on your
truck-
lap.
You drive a
you
really
can,
big
You can stick it on the seat
4x4.
next to you.
Okay.
Nick Burma has gotten a dock.
That's the editor of PC
Yes.
formats for the
And he clips his iPad into his dashboard, but he's also got some like rad USB interface that's like giving him like engine readouts and stuff.
That sounds
But
awesome.
but it is a fantastic GPS device. When I was in Anaheim, California for Build, I used my iPad as a GPS, and it was awesome.
I want one that mounted in the middle of the steering wheel.
Two little blocks of
With
double-sided
Angry Birds
ta-
that you can play with your thumbs.
Gravity
You know?
control, so it stays level. When
You know
it's,
that
I'd watch 10
double-sided
videos while driving.
Velcro? I'm thinking two little dots of that double-sided Velcro and then two little dots on the back of the
That
iPad.
would
You can
absolutely
stick
work.
it to the center of your...
Or I just want to
amazing.
mount it in the windshield, in the middle. And then the camera show me what's in the front.
Augmented reality.
So you can do that.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of early GPS apps in the
That'd be awesome.
App Store where it would rely on reflections from your
Yes,
windscreen.
yeah, I
so
remember
you could
that.
lay
That's
it flat
awesome.
and then look at
Give
your
you a
windscreen.
heads-up
Oh,
display.
wow.
Yeah.
There was one that looked like like you were flying a fighter jet.
Ah,
And it also it
Which
used
is really
the-
what you want for traffic,
Yeah,
really.
Sure.
But I want a
combative.
game in it, like an augmented reality game where you can blow up other cars on the road that piss you off
And tag people
send.
as douches when they cut
Exactly,
you off. That would be awesome.
In fact, and then you add social networking to that.
And voice activation. That would be
Absolutely.
brilliant.
Done.
Douche.
fun and
Let's
games.
go into business, Brett.
But mostly fun.
Jeez.
All right, what else do we need to talk about? E-tag. So I'm reading Dominic's list of topics. It's like, I bought an e-tag.
That's it.
Our
That's
international listeners probably won't care much about the tolling system that's being introduced.
Mm.
And when I say international listeners, I mean people from
You said
Bloemfontein
being-
and Cape Town too.
You said being introduced, hey?
Yes.
Good. I thought you said being introduced. I thought I missed something.
Yeah.
And someone's going to come take my car away. Or...
I've only just discovered how taxes work, so it's
Ah.
entirely possible that something like that could pass me by.
Okay, well, by the time you're listening to this podcast, let's switch tack completely. Microsoft will have rolled out the Xbox Fall update for your dashboard on your console, which is looking like Metro. It looks like Windows 8 or Windows
Yeah.
Phone.
Yeah.
Completely overhauling the Xbox dashboard software for the second time. This is the second time they've made it look completely different. Remember they had that Blade system in
Yes,
the
yes,
first
yes, yes.
incarnation, and then they switched to... and now they're
No, it was
going
just
to-
called the new dashboard.
yeah, and now they're going to
The
Metro.
newer, Yeah.
So Microsoft trying to get a sort of a common interface feel across its operating systems, consoles, and mobile
Which
devices.
is cool because Metro is, pretty cool.
Metro is cool.
Yep.
I've been watching a video, and it's rolling now on the video stream if you're watching it. You're not missing anything if you're listening to audio. Sorry. We had some listeners who are like, we hate it when you play video because we can't see it. We don't play
Some very
videos.
good-looking
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
But
But
we're
know
not-
a lot about security.
But we don't play videos that would subtract from your experience as an audio listener.
I think the interesting bit for South Africans, though, and this was that they sent out a very generic release that was like making reference to some countries and other countries and stuff like that, and it very rarely actually makes any reference to South Africa in these generic releases.
Yeah.
But so the cool thing is South Africans are finally with Connect getting access to voice activation and voice access to that interface. So now you can drive your Xbox using voice, at least get around the environment and get around that interface, which is rad. There was reference to a whole bunch of video and music stuff starting to roll through. That's not coming to our region. So if you read the news story on it, unfortunately that's not here yet. Apparently there's, and this is market speculation, but apparently there's still quite a bit of licensing stuff going on there. But it's kind of exciting that you can bark commands at your Xbox and it will.
I've always wanted to shout at my TV, and I think Apple's going to release something that takes that to the next level with Siri. But I don't want to talk about that because I want to stay with the Xbox. And what I think the biggest addition that's coming with this update is finally being able to save games in the cloud.
Yes.
So when you go to the storage section of the Xbox menu now, it'll show the hard drive in the Xbox, any USB keys connected, and it's great that Microsoft in the last update let you use any USB stick instead of their proprietary memory cards. But now also it'll show up a sort of a cloud storage that you can select. And finally, and why hasn't it been this way since like 2008, you can save your games in the cloud. I wish.
Very useful. I've got two
When is
Xboxes
Steam
in my
gonna do
home,
this?
and it's a huge problem when you want to carry on playing a game on the other Xbox. It's
Yeah.
you can't
The
even do that across your
keys
local
made it-
network.
The USB keys made it a bit easier, so you could like yank
Yes,
out a
yes,
USB,
yeah.
go to the other Xbox and plug it in. But this is the way it should be, all in the cloud.
I think the nice thing with this is it starts opening up a whole bunch of new possibilities. I can see the value in checking into a hotel room and it having an Xbox, because they're very rad media extenders. They're
Yes.
very rad media devices. There's a lot you can do with them. I can see the value of signing in with my profile and having my save games come out of the cloud. I mean, that would be cool.
Someone, I think it's in London somewhere, they've built a concept hotel room floor in one of these super schmancy hotels. I'm sure it's in London. And it's kind of the Xbox is the center of the room and everything's wired and it looks really exciting.
It
We'll
was
find out
it
when
was
we're
strange
hotel.
because there's so much value to be had by hotel chains doing this kind of stuff. When I stayed in Germany, in Berlin, there was a whole music theme to this hotel I was staying in, and they had like 600 channels. They were all streamed via the net, which is really interesting. Massive repositories of music videos and movies and stuff like that. It's one of the first hotels I've been to that didn't have a very canned system. You could see it was built on open source because of the authorities it was pulling on for naming and metadata and that kind of stuff. But absolutely fantastic. You've got like 2 hours to kill in your hotel room. Why not do that kind of stuff?
Sure.
As
Very
opposed
cool.
to having this very canned system.
With a
You've got
TV
like
you can shout at.
3 comedies, 3 dramas, and a 600 porn.
Yeah.
It seems to give you 500 megs for save games in the cloud, which is liberal.
How big is an average save game?
Oh, dude, it's like,
a couple of K, right?
Well, no, bigger than that now because it depends on the game and what they make available for your avatar and all the rest of it. It gets interesting. But
Alright.
but no, they're tiny.
It's obviously also led by this whole starting to do Xbox gaming on your Windows phone, and probably with Windows 8 that integration is
Yes.
starting to come through there too.
Yeah.
Because that was the stuff that blew me away originally about Windows 8 was just the synchronizing stuff.
Yeah.
Like all your data just flows through SkyDrive across all of your
So,
Microsoft
My
devices.
problem is I love my Xbox, and the Xbox controller for me is my favorite console controller. But I love the PS3 as well, and I love the Wii. Like I still play Wii, but the
Just
game,
want them all.
the console. Well, I have them all.
I want a PS3 weeks.
Yeah.
360.
The console I use most at the moment is my 3DS, just because it's always with me. I'm playing Mario Kart 7 7.
Oh, so
Just
awesome.
and I'm
You
playing
can
it.
fly, man.
I'm playing
That
it.
sounds
Also,
exciting.
I'm playing it online mostly. You can't fly, you can glide, but
yeah, but
Close
hey,
enough.
come on.
But I'm
Felt
playing
like I
it.
was flying,
I'm playing
right?
it online mostly. The online play is amazing, and on my Telcom ADSL at home, it works perfectly. And just racing against people from all over the world. The other thing, and brace yourselves, that I'm playing online at the moment, like with fervor, unrivaled since World of Warcraft, is Tetris.
Oh yes, okay, but Tetris
Okay.
for
Tetris
3DS
online is
phones.
awesome.
No, but
Why?
Tetris
Okay.
for 3DS
So
phones.
it's what it does is it throws you into a lobby. I can't think today. Anyway, it throws you into a lobby. It waits for other players to connect. You all signal that you're ready, and then it brings up their grids on the second screen, so you can see what they're doing with their Tetris tiles and your grid, and you play Tetris. But then you get things that you can sort of sabotage them with. So you can draw extra tiles. So that you get like power ups. You can draw extra tiles on the one guy's screen to throw him off. You can swap screens with somebody, so you can really mess up your screen and then
That
swap
actually
it with
does sound like
his,
fun,
and then
yeah.
and then the last man standing wins. And it's just it's difficult to kind of describe to you why it's so awesome, but when you try it, it just really is. There's no, like, Nintendo's very safe about the online stuff, so there's, conservative. There's no chatting, there's no voice chatting. It's got a list of things that you can send to other people, like victory or I won or go easy on me or sure. So it's very fun when you
Charlie
Oh,
good.
like can stuff.
What
can
fun.
stuff.
and most of the people playing are Japanese, and I lose all the time. And then I'd sit back watching them play, sending this I won victory, like message.
That's
You're a
great.
griefer.
Have you seen that there's a company that's
Griefer.
developing an online poker league for Google Hangout, which will be awesome because you can play
Ooh.
against people around the world. You can watch
That
for
sounds quite
facial
cool.
ticks. It kind of brings the human element back into
Yeah,
online
you
poker.
want the tells. You've got to have the
Yeah,
tells there.
Absolutely,
that's
yeah. But I mean, that's games are always more fun when there's that human element. It's why Citadels is more fun than Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Oh, people are going to hate me. Sorry, I just said that.
It's okay. I think they'll be alright.
I haven't played Citadels yet, so I'm still going to take you up on your offer to
Best
play
game in the
Citadels.
world. Just saying.
I used to play
Tetris's
Magic the
ass.
Gathering.
Sorry.
Anyway, so 3DS MVP at the moment. I love all my consoles. I just want to smash them all into each other. Anyway, let's talk about Vodacom next. Vodacom are our sponsors of the ZA Tech Show, and they've been seeing massive growth in their data numbers recently. We saw their financial results recently and that massive jump up in the amount of data consumed. But it's not just Vodacom. This is happening across all the operators. So Telkom, MTN, just seeing a massive sort of move to data. And at the moment, you can get a taste of Vodacom's data network if you've been thinking about it and you want to try it out. They're giving, they've got a special on running for the festive season until the end of January, where you can get 20 gigs of data for a rand under 500. Which is pretty progressive. If you want it, of course, there's a million ways you can get it. Star 111# and follow the prompts, or you can call the center, or you can go into My Vodacom and you can add it there. But check it out, 20 gigabytes. It expires the month after you add it. So if you add it now, it'll expire at the end of January. The show's being recorded in December, so you'll have the whole of December and January to consume that 20 gigabytes. But data is massive for Vodacom. It is almost a be-all and end-all. And we are very, very proud to have them as our sponsors of the ZA Tech Show. Vodacom.co.za. Check it out. Mo data. 20 gigs is pretty hectic
Yeah.
to have on your
That's pretty
mobile.
It's a very good deal.
Yeah.
Well,
Look, if you're pirating movies, you'll fly through it in a night. But
I just paid, what is it, I think like nearly 400 Rand for 500 megs Vodacom on my phone, and I've got their top iPhone bundle. So
Right.
I often feel like they screw their subscribers who pay a lot of money a bit. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that, not that I'm thinking of switching, but yeah.
Yeah, interesting times. I see MWeb's just upgraded their network. They're doing interesting things. And Neotel's got some big announcements on the way, apparently, I hear, that they will have an uncapped fibre option soon.
No,
Not for the home, but for small businesses, which is something.
Well, it's a side note, but
I
I just
can-
upgraded to, sorry Sam, the iBurst new 2 meg modem, and went for the 25 gig bundle, which you get 50 gigs for. They've still got the worst call center in the world.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's actually pretty decent. So it literally doubled my speed. You get 2 radios in your modem. And
okay.
it does some kind of bonding that it does on a single connection. You get double the speed. I don't know how they did that, but there's clever people there.
Pretty good.
And they're throwing data at me now. So I pay $440 a month all in. and I've just got 70 gigs this month.
I did find that when I was on iBurst back in the day, that they are very generous sort of when, bandwidth prices drop to kind of, up everyone's cap.
iBurst's
Subtly.
big problem seems to be contention, because I speak to people who are absolutely delighted by iBurst and other people who swear its name and they can't get more than like 128 kilobits per second out of it. And it seems to be just be contention. If you live in an area where there are a lot of other iBurst users, you're screwed.
Well, so with this 2 meg modem, what's quite nice is you can potentially put 2 antennas on. I'm lucky enough to be equidistant from 2 towers, so it seems to be connecting to 2 separate ones.
Wow.
That is
They're
cool.
that's how it does it.
That's cool.
It's going to do nothing for their contention ratios because now I'm contending on 2.
Yeah, now you're times 2.
Now I'm the biggest ass in the neighborhood. Yeah. But with the right antennas and stuff, unfortunately, not everyone has the technical know-how for that stuff. You should be able to get around it. But yeah, as a general solution, that's no good.
Yeah.
Test it. If it works, it's cheap.
But again, do know that you are going to have to suffer with the worst call center in the world
Yeah.
ever.
They really are awful. And then you'll tweet it out, and their social media experts on Twitter will respond to you with nothing helpful.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
sorry
No,
to hear
but Shane,
that.
they're so sweet and
They
they're
like
very
mock you.
proactive.
They
They're
like
like,
it.
"Hi, we've done a really cool course on social media marketing. We want to be helpful,
Yeah,
but
like-
we have no access to anyone who can help you. So we're just going
right now
to
you're
say
just gonna
sorry.
have to
But hide all ruffle.
Yeah.
I'm 18. And
It's something I notice in general is the number of people that are sort of sprouting up social media profiles, and they'll start responding to customers, but they can't do anything about it.
No.
Or you just see them like hand-holding journalists, like a journalist complains, and it's, oh my God, we are so sorry, please, here have our first-born children. Does that
Yeah.
make up for it?
All this free
Then you
stuff.
complain, thinking, oh, that looks quite good. Sorry, we don't know who you are.
Oh, well.
I just complain through Simon now. Hey, Simon, please tell X this isn't working.
And as you've seen, that doesn't work.
No.
Not at all. Okay, so... like, what?
Sorry, no, it's just a video.
You're showing videos. Okay. Should we do our picks of the week? We are starting to get to the end of the show. Our picks
So
of the
quickly
week,
just-
if you've never heard the show
Okay.
before, is where we
mind.
each choose technology that we've been checking out this week, or that we think is cool or worth mentioning or whatever, really. And we talk about it. Brett, you seem very eager to start.
No, I was going to say there was one other topic I maybe wanted to chat about before, but it's not.
We can chat about it after. What is it?
It is the an interesting one. So you know this story that went out today about the porn satellite network being launched in South Africa.
No, I don't know
Okay.
that.
How did I miss
So
that?
Top TV. So you can use a Top TV satellite dish. You can rent this box for $99 a month, and they're launching a new service called PSAT. All right, that gives access to this new porn channel. The interesting thing, though, is if you look behind it, it gives you access to a whole bunch of other content that's free to air. Well, or that's part of the service. And the interesting thing for me is BBC 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a whole bunch of other channels that are available for free. You subscribe to the porn channel, but then you get this whole bunch of other
Brett,
stuff.
you know what
which
you
is really
sound like
interesting.
right now is the guy who says that he buys Playboy for the articles.
Well, is Playboy still around?
So hold
Yeah,
on.
South African Playboy.
You can't just sell decoders in South Africa.
no,
There's
it's got
licensing.
to be
so who's-
rented. It's $99 a month. Let me find the story. I was reading
That's
it this
not
Take
my
morning.
that,
point. My point is
Bravo.
whether you're renting it or selling it, you can't do it without a license. So
I think there is a license. Hold on. Let's just.
no.
let's just find
They
it.
needed a license.
No. It's
There are
it's
four
all
operators.
official.
There are 4 licenses in South Africa. Last I checked, the one used to belong to Telkom Media and was sold to Shenzhen Media in China. The one belongs to Naspers and MultiChoice. The other one belongs to Top TV, and then there was Walking on Water, I think was the name of the company. Those are the 4 licensees. So one of them has to be doing it,
Let me look. through
unless
my
it's
history.
illegal,
Let's just see.
which may well be.
Legal porn, what a new concept.
Which is why they disguised it as a porn network, so nobody would check it out. Film and Publications Board. So I was watching porn last night, and
Just
I
it all
noticed they were
seems-
delivering it illegally.
It all seems so pointless. I mean, there's a whole internet worth of porn. But anyway.
This is true.
No, well, I think it's it was interesting to me because of all
But
the other
who's
content
doing it
that's
is my
there.
question,
Yeah.
because
I'm
they
going to
have
find
to
out
be.
for you now.
It'll be very funny if it's Top TV.
Because the reason I got quite interested in it is because there's been word of BBC iPlayer coming to the rest of the world for a subscription fee for a really,
Yes.
really long time, right? And I
What are
think
you
that's
laughing
cool.
at, Sam? Are you watching porn right
Sorry,
now?
no, it's safe search is off, and I've just discovered that there's something called it's
Oh.
Gumtree, but the first letter is changed. Which is
Did you
something
actually type that in
different.
yourself? Or did
No,
you-
I was searching for South Africa porn channel.
Oh,
I mean, with
okay.
safe search off. I'm sorry, it had to happen.
I'll quickly find the link for you. But
creative.
So how did you find out about it?
it was on Twitter.
It wasn't Twitter.
It's got to be true, man.
How else do you find things these days?
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, that was a dream. Oh, sorry.
And it was actually tweeted by someone that's actually quite noisy on Twitter. So the problem is, it's like the
Remember
last
Father
tweet I
Ted?
can find is
There was a spider with the head of a baby. Do we need to bring out the dreams versus reality chart again, Brent?
No, no. Okay, I think.
You
let's
think
get
you
on
might
to
have had a dream
Let's
about
get on
it?
to
Or?
picks of the week, and I will find the link.
All right, let's
Okay.
get Sam go first then.
Okay, so my first pick of the week.
Not Bumtree. or
No,
whatever it's called.
it's
No,
not.
no, it's-
One letter off.
You were close.
Yeah. So I was going to talk about my search to find a better productivity workflow, but that would be really boring. So instead, I'm going to pick the Dead Island trailer,
What?
which is friggin' awesome. Now, no thoughts on the game, but just the trailer is friggin' amazing. Go and YouTube it immediately. It's just
I
very
will.
cool.
Dead Island.
Yes, if you love the zombies, it is very cool trailer. It's like 3 minutes long. Of
You said
wonderfulness.
zombies.
said zombies.
I'm sold.
And so that's number one. Number two is that I have been looking for a sweet little home server and came across this really awesome deal on the HP store in South Africa where you could buy a little ProLiant microserver thing for 1,700 Rand. So it's on sale.
Nice.
Go and grab them. It looks perfect for home use. So if you are like me looking for a little server,
So-
then great option.
You know what I want to do with those is I've been setting up Crash Plan with friends, right?
Mm.
So Crash Plan is a great online backup service. Maybe I'll make that one of my picks, right? I've got so many now. Oh man, all the picks.
You just can't choose today. You need all your consoles.
So
all
so
this-
Crash Plan is awesome. It's you know it's like Carbonite or any of these online backup schemes, and you pay I don't know how much, and then you spend 5 months uploading all of the stuff you want to back up for the first time, and then off you go. But Crash Plan is also really good software that runs on Linux, Windows, and Mac, and it sets up a background process, and it gives you a code. And you can set up your backups to run to your friend's house or your parents' house, and vice versa, without doing any router configuration or port forwarding or anything. You just key this code into Crash Plan, and it starts and it adds these other resources as backup destinations. So what I want to do is, like for my parents, for example, is set up a ProLiant server or really cheap little server in a room in their house where their laptops are backing up to it, but also my computers from home, and then vice versa. You know, put something at my house plugged into my Mac Mini or whatever, and they can back up to there. So create a little network, and you're probably saying, but it takes just as long to run the first backup as if you're doing it to America. But what you can do is you can seed it. So you do, once you've created a backup set on Crash Plan, you can even move it around, copy it onto an external hard drive, for example, take it to your friend's house. Then you've seeded that backup set, and from there on it's incremental.
That's very cool.
That is very clever.
Yeah. So I'm going to start doing that. Like, Brett, I'm coming to drop off a hard drive next week. All my friends with uncapped ADSL, just ask them if they'll plug a hard drive in and install Crash Plan for you, and then you've got them as a backup destination.
Very
Done.
cool.
Oh, I thought you wanted some Creative Commons content.
No, that's fine, Brett. I just want you to plug something into your home server and run Crash Plan. And how do we get onto that? I don't know. Very cool pics, Sam.
Sorry, I'm just watching this zombie trailer.
I'm
It's-
watching zombies in bikinis on Sam's screen.
On Dead Island.
It's, yeah,
I'm
our
not
two
hating
main
it.
themes of it's so good. But it's a great story as well. Anyway, just saying,
All right.
Send me link.
it's on Evernote.
Okay, cool.
Dom,
Okay, so
do you have a pick?
I've got 3 picks, but I'll try and make them quick.
That's cool.
So the first one's a quickie. It's the Mail and Guardian iPad app / just magazine, not magazine, newspaper. I'm a bit slow to these things. I'm sure the rest of you've seen it, but it's really cool. It's a nice way to consume your Mail and Guardian every Friday. They've built in nice multimedia, so if Ingrid Jonker has got a section in the culture thing, you can listen to her read her own poem, or so they've built things in there quite nicely. It's a bit of a big download each time, so it's between 180 to 200 megs, but you get the full Mail and Guardian in beautiful glory. So I quite like that.
Yes, I saw your exchange with Alistair Fairweather, who's
Hasn't
in
been
charge of that.
sleeping because of that thing.
Yeah.
Bless him.
And actually, so I had a whole bunch of feedback, like, I want this and this and that. And then I realized it was all there. I just had to look around. So they've done a good job with it.
There you go. Mail and Guardian iPad app. Nice.
Then
Next.
the other one's a bit more geeky, but for those of you who are devs, GitHub.
GitHub, yeah.
I'm late to these things as usual, but it's
It's just amazing.
Well, so things like Subversion and CVS and source repositories have been around for a long time, but they're generally confusing and they're a bit naff, and you have to set up your own server. GitHub just makes it so easy. It's like setting up a social network. You just set up these things. It gives you some blind commands you type in. So I've been moving things over to the Git repository, and it's beautiful and easy, and it's got
But
a social
updating
aspect.
code stacks is amazing as well. You just go into directory and like give the git pull command, and done. You update it to the latest.
Well,
version
you've
of
technically
the
had that
code.
with things like Subversion for a while. It's
Sure.
just
Git's just pretty elegant in the way that it does it all.
the layer GitHub's added on top to, so the way it handles the pull request so that you can get patches to the code with the social element. You get a lot more feedback, and there's potential for the
Very
power
cool.
of open source.
In fact, I think that's what Cory Doctorow is using to work on his latest book.
Yeah, for sure.
He's doing. He's writing his book as like the way you would dev an application, and you can literally download wherever he's added the book through GitHub. You can submit sort of spell checks and
amazing.
grammatical errors, and it's really, really cool.
I suppose you could think of, certain themes in literature as sort of libraries and kind of, oh man, there's a story.
Trust
in
Cory Doctorow to think of that,
He's
right?
amazing.
And he writes. I think he still writes all of his books in Emacs as well, something like that.
He needs an operating system to write a book. All right, then the last one is quick. It's an app for iOS called iCab Mobile. It's a web browser replacement. And it's just the perfect geeky browser. So apart from having lots of feature and being done right and it's easy to use browser, it's got the ability to switch a user agent, just one simple click.
Cool.
And it's got a whole bunch of plugins to make things readable and integrate with Evernote and Dropbox and all sorts of things like that. From a privacy perspective, which is one of my research interests, it supports everything. It can delete local databases. It gives you options around them. They've got filters built in, so you can block Google Plus's button from tracking you on third-party websites if you want to, and that's kind of out of the box, and it doesn't break your web experience. So it's just a lot of great geeky stuff packed into one
Nice.
browser.
That does
I
sound
dig
very
it.
cool.
iCab Mobile.
ICAB Mobile. Yeah.
Sorry, can I have a third pick? So your thing about writing made me think, if you are a writer, Ohm Writer, it's the best thing in the world. It's this no distraction writing software. It's free.
Yeah,
and
I've
it's
seen
wonderful.
that.
It's
How
very
do you spell
peaceful.
it again?
OMM Writer, I think.
OMM.
Yeah, I think it's OMM
Writer.
Writer.
I will check it out. There are lots of great little, very stripped down, simple word processors for tablets. A-Writer, I think, is one of the coolest ones I've seen. And it sort of enhances the keyboard with all sorts of things as well. And very cool. I like it. All right. Thanks, Dom. Nice picks. Brett Haggard.
So 3 also, but the one we've already talked about, Motorola Razr. Really loving it. Very, very cool phone. The second is...
How's the battery life before we move on?
Actually not bad. I'm getting 12 to 13 hours
Is
at
it?
the moment. So today I've just hit 13 hours on it.
Geez, that's pretty
About
good.
20%.
For an Android phone, that's excellent.
20%. But
What a world
it's
we live
I haven't I haven't used the phone a lot today. I've used it mainly for data throughout the
Okay.
day. But I think that should somehow be a little bit more intense.
Because I've got a Razr, but I haven't given it the time it deserves yet. It's had a busy week, but I plan to play with it a lot this
I
week.
spent a lot of time downloading apps, migrated across to it completely. I'm going to give it a real try and see if I can survive off of it.
It'll be interesting when the new lap docks come out,
yeah.
which transform it into a laptop. They tried that with the Atrix, the Motorola Atrix, and the lap dock was far from perfect. The keyboard was not okay.
Yeah.
The keyboard was terrible. Let's not sugarcoat. But the idea was amazing.
Cool idea. Yeah.
And somebody was actually saying to me today, "Oh, that totally doesn't interest me because I'll just for the same price go out and get myself a netbook." And I said, but there's one major difference: the bonus of being able to dock this into a lap dock, use it for 6 hours, and take out a fully charged phone thereafter.
Yeah.
For me, is very
Well,
rad.
and
That's useful.
The bigger thing is price, right? So you can get the lap dock, the phone, and other accessories for less than you'd spend on a laptop,
Yeah, but
and you get a phone
yeah,
as well.
Although the laptop, from what I
And
understand,
world
the
we
more
live in at the
executive
moment,
one,
like phones cost more than
it's
laptops.
more or less, it's going to wind at the same price as a netbook. So I mean, I think you're looking at somewhere between 3.5.
The current one's two and a half.
Yeah, I know that the new one's
Except
gonna be a
in
little
South
bit
Africa, I
more,
was chatting to the Motorola guys. A lot of resellers have been hyping the price
Yeah.
up, and they're trying to stop it. But the one guy was selling them for $6,000. It's like, hello. Anyway, all right, Bretsky. You said you had another pick though.
Yeah, I have another 2. The second one is the Kingston HyperX memory sticks.
Okay.
The little flash sticks that have launched. Firstly, they're available in RAD capacity. So this is a 64 gig one.
So
but
you're
they're
picking a USB thumb drive.
But wait, hang on. There's,
At least
there's
he's not
more
picking
than
his
that.
nose.
It's the HyperX brand. So the HyperX brand is a brand they normally give to their really, really fast stuff.
Yeah, it's their high.
What I like about it is this one is USB 3.
Yeah, I've got one as well. That's the. What's the previous? Anyway, yes.
Do you have anything that supports USB 3?
I have
I
a
don't.
couple of machines at home that do USB 3.
It's mine.
so-
I think it's the Data Traveler. They went USB 3 on that a while ago.
But
There's a 256 gig one available.
okay, so this
Which
does
is
255 megabytes per second transfer speed at USB 3, which
And
I
what's
think
the
is cool.
capacity?
This one's a 64.
So I've got this one that's been out for a while. DT Ultimate G2, also Kingston. This is a 64 gigabyte one, also USB 3.
Yeah.
And Toby's got the same one in 256 gigabytes, which is
Oh, that's
pretty
amazing.
amazeballs.
Yeah, I know that's pretty.
That's
big.
a hard
That
drive.
blows
Look, they're
my
not
mind.
cheap though.
Yeah, look, I mean they're
How
they're
cheap is
expensive,
not
but that's
cheap?
mainly got to do with the capacity though, and they're saying
The
that
last I
USB
checked
3 is
these were
going to go a lot
800.
more mainstream. So
Something like that.
Well, you compare that to an SSD hard drive. That's pretty
Mm.
decent.
Sure, and if you're a MacBook Air user like Bretsky is, it's very handy to be able to carry that much. I mean, you could put your iTunes
I
library
carry
on here.
another probably about 300-400 gig. So I've got 2 64s, 2 32s, and a 16 that roll around in my bag.
Wow.
My World of Warcraft installation lives on a 32 gig stick,
It's amazing.
and it's
Crazy.
red. You can
It's back to the
boot
cartridge
straight off
era.
of that. Which is kinda
Wow.
cool. But anyway.
Nice.
So that's pick
Delicious.
number 2. And pick number 3, something that's been missing from ours for a while, but is now something I stumbled on. Actually, Aki Anastasio drew my attention to it.
You've got 2
Is
mentions tonight. Go Aki.
oh, jeez, dude, he's going to be famous. I have all these followers and stuff. It's an application called. Hold on, I downloaded it today. Where is it? It's called Data Usage.
Okay.
It costs $1.
All right. American dollars.
And what it does is give you an outline of what your data usage is really, really accurately on your iPhone, which is something that's been missing for a while, right?
There's been an app for a while that lets you not only see it but control it. What was Nick picked it a while ago? What was it called?
Can't
That was-
remember.
Okay, so that was on Onavo, and what Onavo does is it actually does some compression stuff.
Yeah.
This just gives you really nice outline, really cool graphical views.
Does it
can
tell you
view
how
by-
many what app did what? Okay.
Yep.
Because that's
Pretty
missing
cool.
from the built-in iPhone sort of data.
Which
meter.
is, and it's got an interface that looks almost very much like speedtest.net, that kind of black and green stuff, which kind of works for me. You can set little alerts. So yeah, there's a free version and there's a version that costs $1, and I think it's really rad. So
nice.
that's
Okay,
pick
very
number
cool.
3.
Okay, so I've pretty much mentioned all of my picks already. But TomTom Roots, go and check it out. Free traffic information on the TomTom website. If you're sitting at your office and you're about to leave for home, just load it up and see what the traffic looks like on the way home. It's very useful. And it's amazing that it's free. Inside the Plex is the book I'm currently reading about Google. What's Levy's his surname? What's the author's name? I suck tonight. I'm terrible. But if I've just read Walter Isaacson, Steve Jobs, and now I'm reading this, and it's kind of interesting. Sam made the remark earlier about reading them sort of one after the other, from sort of the Apple way to the Google way, and there are no books written about Microsoft because nobody cares, but apparently they have a way to. It's called Metro.
The way to the dark
It's
side.
like, listen, guys, these widgets are the coolest thing we've done since like DOS. It's just, it's everywhere. This is like put widgets everywhere, whatever, man. Like that's our strategy now, widgets.
Yes, but we have to give it a rad name. It's kind of like underground, but also in a city. So
But keep the
Like
desktop.
Metro,
Like if you
yeah.
click here, then you get your shitty old desktop again. Like that has to be here. But widgets, dude.
but seriously, having played extensively with Windows 8, that is my least favorite feature.
Is the desktop view.
I'm like, nasty. Please, can I go away from being? Can I not
and you
be in
have
Windows,
to
please?
you have to change your habits. Like you click on the start bar, it loads Metro again. So every time you click on start, it's like, oh, let me go to start menu quickly. Oh, what have I done? Anyway, this is the developer preview, and it is a preview. And so one has to, understand there are a few bugs and things. I'm actually enjoying Windows 8. I'm, having fun dissing Microsoft because it always is. But I actually think Windows 8 is looking fairly cool. Anyway, and then Crash Plan was the other thing I mentioned, which is super ultra awesome online backup, but also distributed backup for you. C drives, put them all over the place. So I went on a long search for online backup solutions. And I looked at Carbonite and Backburner. Backburner's cool because it has a native OS 10 interface and builds into the control panel. So Crash Plan and most of the others have a Java interface, but I don't really care. It's always running in the background anyway. Those are my picks of the week.
So I have an answer for
Who
you on
needs
the
a
porn
drink?
channel.
Yeah, so much. I
Just
must
quickly
say,
clarify this quickly.
Yeah.
So apparently the reason they don't have a license is because the channel's content will be broadcast on the Astra 4A satellite, the system employed by Top TV, while a similar blah, 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 blah. It says, according to John Solomon of African Satellite Installation, that means that it's outside the jurisdiction of South African broadcasters. So it's actually being broadcast from outside of South Africa. It's
But
a
they're
French
selling
channel.
their decoders in.
They're renting the decoders in South Africa for 99 Rand per month.
I give them 2 weeks.
So we got pirate satellite.
Like if it was as simple as the content's not coming from South Africa, then there
No.
would be a lot of companies doing
Yeah.
this.
that is very interesting.
I think they are screwed.
So it's PSAT,
Oh, good luck
totally
to them.
independent.
Sacre
of
bleu,
other
we
satellite
tried to sell
channels.
up pornography in South Africa. It didn't work. It turns out they have a government and laws.
And they don't want the porn.
You will have to get it on the internet. Did you see jeez, Robin Williams do his Siri?
Yes, it was
Impersonation.
fantastic. It was so funny.
No, googling.
Let's play it. Why not? You can play the audio. Just go to YouTube and look for Robin Williams Siri. It was very funny. Are you having a side conversation? Sidebar.
It's about you.
Okay. What is it?
No,
We're
it's not
looking
about you.
No, we're looking at porn pictures.
Is
of
it
you,
about the
Simon.
underpants on Brett's laptop?
No, it's not.
Why do you have underpants on your laptop? Now you have to tell
Because
us.
they're rad.
It's a talking
Because
point.
underpants are rad.
No, they're not.
Well-
That's the whole point.
So I think every geek goes through this stage. At
Underpants
some point,
stage.
No, at some point they get some stickers and they figure they should put on their laptop,
Yeah.
and then they don't stop,
Yeah.
and then they really regret it.
So
a
who
couple
gave
of
you
weeks later.
underpants
You know.
stickers,
No,
Brett?
no. It's like, so this MacBook Air has not had any stickers on it since I've owned it. In the past 2 weeks, I decided, let me make it look like my last 15-inch. That was actually a fantastic work of art. It had rad, like, counterculture stickers on it. It
Yeah, this
had-
one not so much. Brett.
It's kind of like
No, it's- hey,
tattoos
it
for
takes a
dorks who
while.
aren't very
It
committed.
takes a while to kind of get.
It looks like a
there.
paper doll died on the top of your laptop.
It's like a rare. There's some bling, and there's like Yoshi
Ah,
and Mario, and
It looks
a
like your
moustache.
child didn't want his sticker book.
Yeah.
No, it looks like my child didn't get his sticker book.
All right, just
I
Robin
did before
Williams
him.
Siri impression. You guys can't hear it, so whatever.
Let's talk about this new technology
was on Ellen
that you're
DeGeneres.
very into. I'm just kind of
is very,
gaining
very funny.
not interest. I'm interested in it, but
Can we
I
talk now
kind of
for
am
the
slow
benefit
to
of the
to
future?
the
Welcome to
future.
part two.
Yeah. What-
Siri,
Hold on, if I
name
switch
a
off
wonderful
your-
restaurant. I'm sorry, Robin. Where are you right now?
Like that is an app on the iPhone, right?
It's the app on the iPhone 4S. It's the one that they sell it. I tried to use it in France, and it was like, Siri, name me a fine French restaurant. Robin, I can't find restaurants in France. At that point, I give up. Okay. I wish it had a French accent and call it sorry. What do you do? What do you care? I don't know. You're in France. Walk outside. Walk down a block. Look around, you idiot. What are you, stupid? iPhone. What are you? Oh, look at you. Oh, you iPod. You and your new iWife. What are you doing? Look around you. Why must you ask a phone? Live your life. Taking pictures with your phone. Look, and then paint.
Very funny.
Oh, he's amazing.
Gotta love Robin Williams
No.
and studio monitors that
What a
lets me switch
legend.
off the mic and listen to things. It's all coming back to me now. My radio days. All right, let's stick a fork in it on that note. Thanks for being here, Sam Beckbessinger from Quirk.
Thank you, Dingleberry.
A pleasure as always.
Indeed.
I now share a name with the playbook.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Dingleberry thing didn't get tired at high school. I need some more of that.
Comes in waves.
I never
Bringing
thought
it
that you'd
back,
accuse
man.
me of being a bully, Simon.
Sam, you're not a bully. Dominic White is.
Yes, it's but
From Sense Post. What link shall we punt for you? Or should we give out your Twitter handle? Singe. S-I-N-G-E.
yeah.
At Singe on Twitter. And Dominic tweets about a whole lot of stuff.
Do you know,
Gets into religious arguments with
because
other geeks.
because I
and
met you on Twitter, I thought you were green. I'm a little bit disappointed
Why do you think he was green?
because his Twitter avatar is green.
That's the guy from the Gorillas.
Ah. Which character is it?
I
Murdoch?
have to go look now.
I've forgotten.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's not Noodles. Noodles is the lady who plays the guitar.
It was the lead character.
Actually,
who's
is
missing
she
teeth
12
and
years
eyes.
from 12 years
It's
old
this
from
dude.
Japan? No, I can't
It's
remember.
that dude.
Oh,
there.
you got a stick of him too? No. Oh. That's Murdoch. No, I can't remember. 2D.
Yes.
It's 2D. Anyway, at Singe on Twitter. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Brett Haggard at Bretsky from Hypertext Media Communications.
Thanks, Si.
Thanks for being here. Sam is at Greenham_Sam, by the way. We can give you a link. Everybody gets a link.
No, just
Everybody. Even me. I'm at Simon Dingle. And that's it for episode 188 of the ZA Tech Show. Thanks for watching or listening. If you're wondering what's happening over the festive season, we'll take a break, but we will have some content up on the stream. So basically, if you want to carry on doing what you do every week with us, you can do that. Content might be a bit shorter, but it'll be there nonetheless. So that's the dealio. And that's it for the show. ZA Tech Show is made possible by Vodacom. Power to you at vodacom.co.za. Cheers.